Well, first and foremost, let's start out by defining what a counterfeit medication is. A counterfeit medication is a fake drug that may contain incorrect or inactive ingredients. A U.S. law defines counterfeit drugs as those sold under a product name without proper authorization. Counterfeiting can apply to both brand name and generic products where the identity of the source is mislabeled in a way that suggests that it is an authentic product. Counterfeiting products may include products without an active ingredient, with an insufficient or excessive quantity of the active ingredient, with a wrong active ingredient, or with fake packaging. The term counterfeit drug may be used to describe a drug made by someone other than the genuine manufacturer by copying or imitating an original product without authority or right, with a view to deceive or defraud, and then marking the copied or forged drug as the original. There are many other definitions of what a counterfeit drug is in other countries, however, they all follow a similar trend. Producing counterfeit drugs is a cheap process. Counterfeiters don't have to go through the trouble of building large facilities or infrastructures. They simply have to replicate the drug that has already been researched by the industry. Small cottages, basements, and backyards are commonly where these products are produced. Generally speaking, the substitute compounds that are used to imitate a drug are cheap in price while omitting the expensive active ingredient. Some common non-dangerous fillers for the prescriptions are to be chalk, flour, vitamins, talcum powder, or sugar. There are, however, dangerous products that have been found in the past, including rat poisoning and floor wax. It is quite common for lifestyle drugs such as erectile dysfunction or weight loss pills to be counterfeit. This is because these drugs are more expensive but do not have a highly evident effect on the user. An example would be a diet pill not working for a user. Counterfeiters choose products that do not have a solid, fast effect. This makes them easier for the users to continue to use the entire counterfeit drug, which is actually not having an effect at all. Types of counterfeiting are divided into 6 different categories. Products without active ingredients, 32%. Products with incorrect quantities of active ingredients, 20%. Products with wrong ingredients, 21%. Products with correct quantities of active ingredients, but with fake packaging, simply repackaged, 15%. Products that are the exact original product, 1%. And products with high levels of impurities and contaminants, 8.5%. This is a global problem. The problem of producing and consuming counterfeit drugs is consistent in both developed and developing countries. More times than not, multiple countries are usually intertwined in this process. The drugs are manufactured in the developing countries, which usually has little to no regulation on counterfeiting, or where laws are very relaxed and the penalty does not outweigh the gains. For an example, small villages in Denmark and Sweden have some of the most authentic-looking counterfeit labeling in the world. These peasants, with industrial print machines, are giving the FDA a huge run for their money. After the counterfeit product is created, it is then sold in the developed countries where there is high regulation, strong governments who hold a high set of standards. These factors make the prescriptions more expensive for the consumer. This creates a large active black market seeking cheaper pharmaceuticals. A large problem with the global issue is that some countries are willing to provide information about the cases that are detected, while some of the others try and hide and cover up the facts. Why is counterfeit drugs such a large problem? Many factors play into the attractiveness of counterfeit drugs. Because pricing of prescriptions fluctuate all over the world, this leaves many markets an opportunity for money to be made. An example of this is a little purple pill called Nexium, discovered by Pfizer. The dosage of this pill in the US can be close to $200, while in Switzerland it can be found at $23. This is a huge profit margin for our business people out there. It is also no surprise that medicine is considered a valuable item all over the world. Therefore, there is always an infinite market for pharmaceuticals. Expensive factors, such as the pharmaceutical industry is faced with, are overhead costs, quality assurances, or GMPs, good manufacturing processes. All of these, as well as the other process regulations, go right out the window when it comes to manufacturing counterfeit drugs. Therefore, with almost no startup cost, once again, profit margin is quite high. Because drugs are such a crucially regulated consumer good, or at least they need to be, drugs can't be treated as simple consumer goods. The research and development, manufacture, import, handling amongst the supply chain, all require specialized knowledge and skills. Due to this reality, standards must be held high and processes must be regulated heavily. This must be required by a strong government and regulatory authority. When located in developing countries, this strong government infrastructure is not present, leaving the citizens of the country the option to capitalize. A large contributing factor that makes producing counterfeit drugs easy is a lack of regulation exporting these drugs out of developing countries. Even if the drugs are being regulated, those standards of the developing country are not always the same as the standards as the developed importing countries. Also, many are taken through free trade zones. This is a place where repackaging and relabeling can happen with ease. This type of exporting makes it very easy for counterfeiters to introduce illegal products into the distribution chain. When a consumer starts using a counterfeit drug, the safety, efficacy, and quality of the drug is no longer there. Even when the drug contains appropriate active compounds, their production and distribution techniques are not of those that conform to normal government regulation. As a result, any adverse reactions or defects will not be monitored. An example would be the company not knowing of the adverse reactions that the counterfeit drug is producing, and therefore an appropriate product recall will not be issued. Meanwhile, citizens are still consuming the drug, causing harm to themselves. These adverse reactions can result in serious injury or even death. The majority of counterfeit drugs are manufactured without the active ingredient or without the correct amount of active ingredient. If an individual keeps using these counterfeit drugs, they are really not curing the problem. Then the treatment will have to be prolonged. When working with conditions such as bacterial antibiotics, this can lead to resistant organisms. This only makes the dilemma worse. Along with this, the reality of counterfeit medication also deteriorates public faith in the healthcare system, healthcare professionals, healthcare suppliers, and in the drug regulatory authority. Here are some examples of real counterfeit medication. You have to look closely because the differences are very slim. In the U.S., the act of counterfeiting is punishable as a felony. The tip of the spearhead is counterfeiting of U.S. securities, including currency and obligations. This will lead to a fine up to $250,000 and up to 20 years in prison. When foreign obligations and securities are counterfeited, prison sentences can reach up to 25 years or more. Counterfeiting goods, such as adding a tag to a shirt of a well-known trademark like Gucci or LV, then selling them for a profit, will also bring felony charges similar to those associated with counterfeiting U.S. securities. Additionally, if financial gain or loss occurs to someone other than the defendant, then the sentence fine can be doubled, once again receiving 25 years. The act of replicating a pharmaceutical is punishable anywhere up to 10 to 25 years and is considered a serious offense. Now that we understand counterfeiting, let's take a look at how we as packaging engineers play an active role in stopping the counterfeiting of illegal goods. There has been lots and lots of anti-counterfeit methods used today. Today there are over 35 security features alone on the new US $100 bill. Methods of anti-counterfeiting to prove authenticity include stagnants, holograms, inks and dyes, and watermarks. We even have the ability to trace packages and look back to where they were manufactured. Technology to do this include barcode scanning and radio frequency identification systems. Many counterfeit methods that are used now are multidimensional, using lots of components to help prove authenticity. An example would be a type of label adhesive that leaves the manufacturer brand name when it is ripped off of the package. 3D matrix labels can even be scanned right to a personal cell phone so computers can make sure that their prescription is legitimate. The knowledge that you bring as a packager can save industries money, stop illegal global trade, and just maybe might save a life.